Welcome to all in the next session of emulsion. In first session we discussed about introduction and the basics of emulsion. Now in this session we will discuss about classification of emulsion based on their types and their size. Now the learning objective of the session, at the completion of this lesson student will able to classify emulsion, understand various types of emulsion, identify pharmaceutical uses of various types of emulsions. Now we will classify the emulsion. So basically emulsion is classified on the two way. First is based on their types and second one based on the size. So based on the type, emulsions are of two types: primary and simple emulsion and multiple or double emulsion. Now multiple or double emulsion is also sometimes referred as a complex emulsion. Now primary then based on their types they are categorized depending upon their size, like micro emulsion, mini emulsions and macro emulsion. Mini emulsion sometimes referred as a nano emulsion also. Now primary emulsion are of two types: oil in water type of emulsion and water in oil type of emulsion. But sometimes the third one is also exist, that is oil in oil type of emulsion. We will discuss later about what actually a oil in oil type of emulsion in this session only. While multiple or double emulsion, like oil in oil and water in oil type of emulsion. Now we will discuss one by one. Now first we try to understand what actually a primary emulsion is. So the primary emulsion, as we discussed, they are of basically two types: water in oil and oil in water. So we have a two emulsion. In first one, that water is in background, means in the external phase, that is a continuous media, that is white colored, and in case another case the water is in the circular shape, so that is in form of a droplet. While in the first case the oil is in the form of a droplet, and in another case it is in the continuous phase. So I think you are in a position to explain which type of emulsion is. So the first one is a oil in water, since water is a external phase and oil is in form of a droplet, and the another one is water in oil type of emulsion. So these are considered as a primary emulsions. Now we just go inside the basic information about the primary emulsion. So the first one, that is oil in water type of emulsion, and in second one, that is the water in oil type of emulsion. Now certain characteristics, like normally oil in water type of emulsion administered orally. So when we need to drug delivered orally, then we mainly prefer oil in water type of emulsion. Why? The reason is that because water is the external phase, so it is feasible, or it is favorable to swallow that emulsion into the patient, since water is an external phase. Also it is applied topically, so it is applicable to both, administered for oral administration and for topical administration. While mainly water in oil type of emulsion is applied topically. The reason is that oil is an external phase, so it is quite difficult to swallow that kind of formulation. It is not exclusively used externally. Sometimes if it is required, then orally can be administered also. Now the third type of primary emulsion, that is both the phase, that is dispersed phase and dispersion medium, means continuous phase and a discrete or discontinuous phase, comprise of both oil 1 and oil 2. In this case it is simply referred as a oil in oil type of emulsion, and this kind of emulsion consists of a polar oil like propylene glycol, which is dispersed in a non-polar oil. So for example, paraffin oil and vice versa. So it is sometime possible or it is sometime required to prepare a oil in oil type of emulsion. Now the next one is a multiple emulsion. So simply primary emulsion and multiple emulsion. Difference between is, in case of primary emulsion only two phases exist, while in case of multiple emulsion we simply considered there are total 3 phases. So the first one is a continuous phase. Next, in case of primary emulsion we have to prepare emulsion, and that emulsion is further emulsify with one more phase, so you will get a multiple emulsion. Now in the first figure, as you see, water is a droplet which is distributed into the one bigger drop of oil, and that particular entity that is referred as a water in oil droplet. Now this water in oil entire droplet is further emulsified with a next phase, that is water. So you will get a emulsion that is type of water in oil in water. So the first emulsion is water in oil in water type of emulsion. Now in the second or subsequent figure, that oil is a inner phase of a bigger droplet which comprise of water, and that entire droplet is oil in water droplet, and that oil in water droplet is further emulsified. Oil in water is a primary emulsion which is further emulsified with a oil phase. So you will get oil in water in oil type of emulsion. So this one is the multiple emulsion. I think you are able to understand by looking to the figure what actually a multiple emulsion is. Now what is the reason why we need to prepare the multiple emulsion? There are several reasons. Like first, we need to control the release, we need to deliver a drug which are sensitive to light, we need to alter or we need to add a 2 or more drugs simultaneously which are incompatible to each other. Now the next example, that is a micro emulsion which is a type of, or this classification is based on size. So micro emulsion, normally droplet size is less than 100 nanometer. Again, the size ranges depend upon the several, there are variation in several references or several books, but normally it is less than 100 nanometer. It is considered thermodynamically stable. It means there is no any impact of heat on the stability of micro emulsion, as well as they are, as compared to the simple like basic primary emulsion, it is more stable. It is homogeneous system. Homogeneous means the size of droplet is too less, so we cannot visualize by naked eye, and hence it is considered to be a homogeneous. Either they are transparent or translucent. Now macro emulsion, normally droplet size in the range of 0.1 to 100 micrometer, and they are metastable, means kinetically stable. And the third and last one, that is the mini emulsion. So again it is considered as a nano emulsion where the droplet size is in between 5 to 200 nanometer. Again it is metastable, means kinetically stable, and they are normally mini emulsion or like nano emulsion can be preferred to administer the drug into parenterally. So this is all about the session, and the study question with respect to the classification specifically towards the emulsion includes classify emulsion, means we need to classify emulsion. Yes, it is based on two way, like based on types and based on size, and the types like primary and multiple emulsion. Like okay, next one, differentiate oil in water from water in oil type of emulsion. So you need to give the difference, what actually oil in water and what actually water in oil type of emulsion. So I think by looking to the previous slides you are able to give the answer of what actually oil in water and what is actually water in oil type of emulsion, and what is micro emulsion. Okay, so likewise such questions are there. So that's all for this session. Thank you for